from that time, within a year, you are now a freelance consultant, and you help various companies with your expertise, and you have been invited to multiple podcasts and TV shows to share your journey and motivate others. And I think it is immensely endearing that we have you over here, because now we can dive deep into what happened in those 12 months and understand what goes behind a mind that is really determined and has conviction. So when you landed over here, I know that you mentioned that you faced series of rejection. So what was that time like? What was your first step when you had first, shifted to Australia, and what were the challenges that you were facing?
Sure. So just to put things in context, I found myself in a new country with my two little girls separated from my husband, leaving everything that I had behind. So I really, my only belonging was my purple suitcase, as I mentioned at the beginning. And so because I have almost 20 years of working experience, at first I thought, well, I'm going to send my resume and, with my experience and, with the languages and everything that I have worked in my past, I thought it was going to be relatively easy to find a job. And I had the biggest reality check. It wasn't. I had like a rejection email, in my inbox, and it kept on piling up with the rejection letters, sometimes just being ghosted by recruiters. Even when I thought I was a good fit for a role, sometimes I wouldn't even get called back. And so I started to create this narrative where I would tell myself and I would tell people, well, I'm new here, so I don't have a network. I'm not able to get a job because I don't really have a branding here. And so for a few months, I would say I was in this spiral of kind of playing the victim a little bit, and kind of justifying the rejection, because to be very honest, when we have rejection, we try to justify why rather than looking at ourselves in the mirror. And then one morning, and it was really like that. It was one morning I was looking at my girls and I asked myself, what is the story that I want to tell my children when they grow up? Do I want to tell them that I came new to a country and, I didn't have a network and I didn't have a branding and I didn't really do anything about it? Or do I want to be in control? Do I want to create my journey? Do I want to own my narrative? And of course, I knew the answer. I knew the answer in my heart. I knew the answer, in my brain. And I started to really turn things around. I thought, okay, I'm new in this country, but I'm not the first person who is new. There's so many other foreigners who have succeeded. There are other people who don't have a network, maybe people who are just started brand new, or they want to reshift, in their career. And I said, well, if people are not coming to me, what can I do to create my network? And I started a journey of just putting myself out there. I started to create a lot of content, to be super active on LinkedIn. By the way, I invite everyone to follow me. I'm super active. I write every day. And so I really started to reach out to people, reach out to recruiters, not in an aggressive way, more like this is my value. Because if they were not able to see my value, I wanted to put it out there. I wanted to create my value so that people could see it. And so I started to grow my base of followers. I was a very passive user in LinkedIn. And in only a few weeks, I was able to get 2,000 followers, which is pretty good, as a starting point. And I encourage everyone to start. I think the hardest step is the very first one. And so this is how I started to own my narrative. I started to put myself out there. I started to create my own network. I started to not sit on the sidelines, but really take an active role and make mistakes and, start to meet people virtually, in person as well. So that was one of the first things, like really turn things around. And if you don't have your network, go out there and create one. The second one was really about branding. I realized that when I was sending a CV, like customized CV with a cover letter, and people were not getting back to me, it was probably because I was not able to show them my value, that I was not able to really show who was I as a brand. And I really had a moment of thought-provoking moment of saying, well, who am I as a brand? Yes, I worked for Apple in the past. I worked for Estée Lauder, but that's not who I am. That's the brands that I have worked for, that I have worked with. So who is Veronica as a brand? And I started to think on what is my value? What is it that I have done that makes me unique? Because we all have our uniqueness. And so really focus on that. And it was really transformational. So the first step was to put myself out there. LinkedIn was my platform of choice. And then the next step was starting to reach out to people, put myself out there. As you said, I started to participate in podcasts. I started to do live shows. I think today this is like the fourth or fifth maybe that I've done since I started, and that wasn't. It was like a month ago or so. And so through all this transformation, the magic started to happen. Like, in the past, I had to reach out to people, and then I started to have companies reaching out to me and saying, hey, would you like to work for us as a consultant? We know that you have experience in retail. So that's how I got my first freelance job. Another one, it was because I started to post content on a topic that I'm very passionate about, which is inclusion and diversity, because I've lived in so many countries and I've experienced, the exclusion firsthand. And I want to be leading this inclusion firsthand as well. And now I'm also working for this company in a project. So I think it's a great, inspiring story that I want to tell the world, because it's really how you can turn opportunities into like the most amazing story